What's up, everybody? This is your boy Uber Hikari, aka the Nerd Nigga, here to bring you another video with no frills, just the analysis. And today I'm here to bring you the review of Naruto chapter 664 entitled I'm His Father After All. No preambles today, because this video is going to be quite long, so let's jump right into the review. First, I want to talk about pacing. So, full disclosure. I don't watch or read weekly anime and manga. Generally speaking, like I said, I stopped reading manga. It's got to be quite some months ago. I can't even remember the last manga I even read. Generally, I'm a binge watcher or a binge reader. I don't follow weekly series, whether anime or manga. What I tend to do is I find a series I like, I read the entire series, and then this is true for both manga, anime, and even comic books. I read everything all at once and then I stop. I don't read it again for at least another year, generally 2 years. And then once the 2 years comes back around and I regain interest in the material, then I go back and reread everything until I'm current again and then start over until the series is over. So I don't follow series on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis or even a monthly basis. So maybe it's just me. Full disclosure, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just impatient with the story. But I don't think so. Like I'm saying, maybe I'm being a little impatient because after all, I've only been reviewing this series for 2 weeks, and after all, it's kind of difficult to have a major plot progression in only 20 pages. But I don't think so. Again, I don't think so. Two things are slightly irritating about this chapter. First, Spiral Zetsu. It was revealed that someone is clearly inside Spiral Zetsu. So why would Kishimoto reveal that information if he's not committed to actually revealing the identity of the person inside of Spiral Zetsu? Why would he reveal that there was a person inside of Spiral Zetsu and then come back and drop it the next week? A little odd. Second thing, who the hell is the person standing next to Sasuke? I mean, it's the same thing as the situation with Spiral Zetsu. Why did the manga start? Why did this chapter start with the two panels that it started with? Two panels that were, as far as I can tell, completely superfluous. They added nothing to the plot progression of the story. Nothing at all. What are the first two panels in the chapter? There's a mysterious person standing next to Sasuke, and Tobirama is saying that there's a mysterious person standing next to Sasuke. That's it? Pretty much nothing else? Well, no shit. We already knew this from last week that there was a mysterious person standing next to Sasuke. You don't have to repeat it. You don't have to waste two panels giving us information that we already had a week ago. Especially information that does nothing to advance the plot progression of the story in any way. Like I said, those first two panels are completely extraneous. They're pointless. Doesn't add anything to the story. Also, I already mentioned this last week that these sort of identity reveal plot twists might have some negative consequences for the pacing of the story, which is, I wouldn't say it's true yet, but it's starting to get there a little bit. At some point, we know that the continuity of the story is going to have to be interrupted to explain these mysterious people. There's no way around that. We're gonna have to get some info dump. We're gonna have to get some exposition, probably some flashbacks, some explanations, and the pacing and continuity of the story is gonna be messed up. We see that a little bit now, but I'm just saying that we should be prepared for that because that's what it's looking like with this whole mysterious person standing around Sasuke business, and also the person inside of Spiral Zetsu business. But in all honesty, I don't give a shit about them because I care about Madara. We all care about Madara. No one gives a shit about this mysterious person standing next to Sasuke or the person inside the Spiral Zetsu, because up until this point, they've had nothing to do with the overarching story or any particular plot point in the narrative or anything in the war. Why should we care? We have no reason to be invested in the revelation of their identities up until this point. I'm interested in Madara. I'm interested in war. That's what we're here for. Is this not why we're here? For the war, a pretty much an entire world war. Don't care about Spiral Zetsu and the mysterious person standing next to Sasuke. Also, in terms of pacing, got to talk about Orochimaru, some flashbacks, and Team Guy. So let me break down how ridiculous the pacing in this chapter was. First two panels: mysterious person standing next to Sasuke, and Tobirama saying that there's a mysterious person standing next to Sasuke. The next 2 to 3 pages, Karen talking about a mysterious person standing next to Sasuke, and Team Orochimaru traveling. What the hell? Who cares about Orochimaru traveling? I don't give a shit about Orochimaru traveling. Next 2 to 3 pages, lame gag comedy with Team Guy. These characters are irrelevant. And it wouldn't be so bad if they were actually funny, but it's not funny. Tintin hasn't been relevant since never. Since never. Lee hasn't been relevant since, I don't know, part one. Guy, I don't give a shit about Guy either. I don't care about these irrelevant secondary characters because we care about the war. And if they're not going to actually do some shit in the war, like really be cool or badass in the war, then I don't really care about them. I want to see Madara kicking ass and taking names. That's what we're here for. This is a war. We don't have time for gag comedy, especially irrelevant and not funny gag comedy. Next, what do we have? Some more relevant panels. We got Madara spitting out some ninja tools of the Sage of Six Paths. Who gives a shit? I don't want to see that. Who cares? I don't care about that fucking jar thing and that gourd. I don't care. Why is he wasting panels on this? So what? I don't care about that. Next 2 pages, more lame gag comedy with Team Guy again. Then Sakura and Gaara finally make it to Minato and Kakashi, which is what we wanted to see anyway, but then flashbacks. Irrelevant Minato flashbacks. Minato loves Naruto. Minato is Naruto's father. No shit. We know this. Why do we have to be beaten over the head with this? I mean, again, panel by panel, page by page, Kishimoto is continuously interrupting the pacing and continuity of the narrative in this chapter. And it's really annoying because it doesn't just happen like 1 or 2 times. We get irrelevant panels here, irrelevant panels here, a collection of irrelevant pages here, an irrelevant flashback here. Like, really starting to be annoying in this chapter. By the time we get to the important stuff in the chapter, by the time we get done with all that irrelevant stuff, we're already on page 17. The chapter's pretty much almost over. Black Zetsu steals the other half of the Kyuubi chakra, and Madara shows up to where Minato and Kakashi is. And all of that happens in like no, not even, like 2 pages. So we got a bunch of irrelevant stuff for like 15 pages and then 2 pages of the really important cool stuff. What's up with that? Doesn't make any sense. Now, let me talk about the important stuff in this chapter. Black Zetsu. Did Black Zetsu just punk Minato Namikaze? Did I just did mine eyes deceive me? Did he really just absorb the other half of the Kyuubi chakra? And what made this so great and so beautiful was the juxtaposition from one page, from, not even from one page, but literally from one panel to the next panel. So we see in the flashbacks, at the end of the flashbacks, we see Minato saying, "I'm his father after all," and then literally in the next panel, we see him fuck everything up. I literally had to flip back and forth between the pages to make sure I saw this transition correctly. I'm like, what is Minato thinking? And I will say this also. Not only what was Minato thinking, but the way that this happened was a little suspect. Was Minato just not paying attention to the battlefield? Like, did he just forget that this was a war and that the people who he's fighting just wouldn't allow him to do what he wanted to do? Like, save his son's life by injecting the other half of the QB chakra into him? How do you let your opponent sneak? How does Minato Namikaze let his opponent sneak up on him like that? That's a little suspect. I won't call it a plot device, but it's a little suspect. Also, some important questions that have to be answered. Since when can Zetsu absorb chakra? And not just chakra, but chakra from the Biju. Because remember, there was an explanation way, way, way back that there were different types of chakra, that there was yin and yang chakra and the nature transformations and physical chakra and spiritual chakra. And it was distinctly mentioned that the Biju have a particular kind of chakra of their own. So when did Zetsu get the ability to not just absorb chakra, but to absorb Biju chakra? Maybe I missed something. Maybe something isn't clear. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but I don't ever remember that being the case. And not only that, but the Biju chakra has to be sealed inside someone. That's how they become a Jinchuriki. But it has to be sealed. The operative word here is sealed. Someone generally has to make a contract seal to seal the chakra inside the person who's about to become the Jinchuriki. But Minato didn't use a seal here. As far as I can tell, he didn't use any contract seals. Maybe he didn't need to use a contract seal because he'd already used one on Naruto to seal one half of the Kyuubi chakra into him in the first place when he was a baby. That could pass. But there's no contract seal for Black Zetsu. So not really clear how Zetsu was able to just absorb the Kyuubi chakra like that, especially without any contract seals. Second question. What is Kishimoto going to do now? Half the Kyuubi chakra has been extracted from Naruto, so he's dying. And Black Zetsu just stole the other half of the Kyuubi chakra. So now what? Starting to see the are you starting to see the dilemma here? How are they going to beat Madara if the main character doesn't have any chakra? Because, you know, chakra's kind of important if you hadn't noticed. And on my last episode review, one of my reviewers actually brought up a good point that I forgot about. He brought up the idea of the plot trap. So 2 years ago, when I was first starting out as a YouTube reviewer, I had a video up, one of my very first videos from way back in 2011 when I didn't even have an HD camera at the time, where the color was all washed out and the audio was all terrible. Anyway, I had a video called Sasuke and the Plot Trap. And the plot trap is a term that I introduced. I basically made it up myself. The plot trap is what happens when an author writes themselves into a corner by way of a plot twist or a deus ex machina that upends the logic or internal consistency of the story. So basically, a plot twist messes up the logic, the plausibility, and internal consistency of the story. And the more desperate and dire the situation becomes, the more likely it seems that we'll get a plot trap type scenario. Because again, I've already said that I'm assuming that Naruto and Sasuke are gonna get some sort of mid-fight power up, but to not just take the QB chakra from Naruto, but to have Black Zetsu, absorb the other half, this must be some real serious plot twist, and I'm hoping Kishimoto doesn't muck it up. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't know how Madara or Naruto are gonna beat. I don't know how Sasuke or Naruto are gonna beat Madara. I'm really interested to see what kind of mid-fight power-up they're gonna get, because it seems like the only thing left at this point is a plot device. But I'll give Kishimoto the benefit of the doubt. Now on to Orochimaru. Jugo mentions, and this was part of the irrelevant couple of pages where we followed around Team Orochimaru. Jugo mentions that Orochimaru is perhaps still planning or plotting to take over Sasuke's body. My response? Who cares? Do you care? I certainly don't care. Because Orochimaru's not the man of the show. Again, the man of the show is Madara Uchiha, the new sage of the Six Paths. We're interested in this guy. We're not interested in some irrelevant subplot that was dissolved, I don't even know how many years ago, involving some creepy villain type guy wanting to take over a child's body. I don't care about that at all. He's at this point, Orochimaru is being relegated to some irrelevant secondary character. And I know, there's a lot of people out there who like Orochimaru. We got a lot of Orochimaru fans talking about, oh, he's one of the only real villains and he's a real ninja. First of all, Orochimaru isn't even a villain anymore. He's an anti-hero. He's a rather unsavory character, to be sure. Still probably immoral and unethical. But he's helping the Shinobi Alliance, which means that he's not a villain at this point. If he were a villain, he'd be helping Madara. He's not a villain, he's an anti-hero. Immoral and unethical as he may seem, he's no longer a villain. So he's not even a villain anymore. Furthermore, Orochimaru's emergence happened by way of a rather silly plot device. Because Orochimaru just happened to know about this mask and about this shrine that apparently reverses the Reaper Death Seal, which was specifically stated to be irreversible. That's a plot device. If you're a character in a story and you emerge and your only function is as a plot device, you're probably irrelevant. That's one of the ways that you know you're irrelevant. How convenient for Orochimaru to have benevolently given us his knowledge about how to reverse the Reaper Death Seal. How convenient, how magnanimous of him. Completely irrelevant. Like I said, the Sasuke body steal subplot never had really any implications for the overarching story. Never had any real relevance or importance to anything, and it especially doesn't have any importance or relevance now that Madara Uchiha is here. Because again, everything revolves around Madara Uchiha. If it doesn't have to do with Madara Uchiha, I don't care. And neither should you. Neither should you, and neither should Kishimoto. Neither should Kishimoto. One more thing. Let's talk about Madara Uchiha. He didn't really get that much screen time in this chapter, unfortunately. Although he did look rather badass in his new Sage of the Six Paths outfit when he showed up. Where Minato, Kakashi, Naruto, Black Zetsu, Gaara, and Sakura were. Thought that was pretty cool. But I did notice one interesting fact, and maybe this is new to me because I didn't really read the Obito fight. But was Madara flying in this chapter? Because it looked like he was flying. And I was just thinking, since when can Naruto characters fly? I mean, did did this guy? I mean, was there a little bit of Red Bull mixed in with the Bijou chakra? Just saying, because it really did look like this guy was flying. Not really sure why he was flying or where he got those powers from. So I just thought that was a somewhat interesting fact. So that's pretty much it. Uh, when I first read this chapter, I thought it was two thumbs down. Two thumbs down. As I read it more and more and started developing developing my notes more, my thoughts started to change a little bit. So I went from this chapter sucked to this chapter was eh. The vast majority of it was just filled with irrelevant team guy gag comedy following Orochimaru and irrelevant panels that no one cares about. And it only got to the really important cool stuff with 2 pages left. But the 2 pages that we had left for the really important cool stuff was actually really important and really cool. So, mixed. But thank God Madara is here now so that he can finally uh, beat the shit out of someone. To put it bluntly, I want him to start kicking some ass. So this was your boy Uber Hikari, aka the Nerd Nigga. Just brought you another video with no frills, just the analysis. Peace and have a blessed day.